Hello and welcome back to our rally for our 19th weekly rally series for the September 1st leaderboards in the Group 3 Escort. Now we are here in Italy and I checked the leaderboard beforehand and it's a 12-minute rally. Well, just under for the number one time at the time of recording. So the game plan was much the same as before. Take it easy. Don't make mistakes. It's a long rally. The previous two ones were like 8-ish minutes, so a lot of time that could be made up simply by not making any mistakes. Well, it was a strategy that worked well previously, last time out. We went back into sort of acceptable upper mid-range of times. Well, let's put it this way, in the top quarter. And I wanted to keep the streak going, keep the streak of, being solid, being fine, even if it meant being a midfielder, because not making mistakes was how I was planning on gaining places. 12 minutes, 4 stages, plenty of time for something to happen. Someone could make mistakes, someone faster could make mistakes. And as long as I capitalized on that, I would be just fine. Now here I was still sort of trying to figure the car out. I had a decent understanding. These Group 3 ones, they're not the fastest, they're quite easy to drive. Even for someone like me. And this particular track was always kind of a weaker one for me, so I didn't expect anything much. This corner in particular, always a tripping stone, and it would be no different here. Angle too tight, turned into late, too early. And lost plenty of time here. So, our first stage, 221.166, not the best, but far from my worst, as we end up 14th and top 20%. Moving on, we would see one half of the reason why this particular week was quite a bit longer than the others. We move to an nearest makes a difference an 11-kilometer stage. And in the beautiful morning, or was it afternoon? I can't remember. Not sunset. But yeah. 10 kilometers. These were the more endurance-based ones. And yeah. Goal the same. Try to push as much as you can within reason. Within to where I was certain I wouldn't make too many mistakes, or at least if I did, they wouldn't be too glaring. Going a bit something like missing the apices, sort of turning in a little bit too soon, too late, that kind of thing. Minor skill issues. Nothing that would send me plunging down the order. As I found out last week, it is sort of a perhaps not quite the winning strategy, but if I was planning on getting a top 10 time, I would really have to check my delusions, because I'm not delusional about my levels of skill. I knew I'm sort of where I stand, and it's just out of reach of the top top 30, top 40, top 50, out of, say, 200, 250 people that usually do these weekly rallies. I was sort of, the upper quarter, upper fifth. And pushing too hard, with my notorious inconsistency, that was just really asking for trouble, and, I might set a better time here and there, but I'm also a lot more likely to just crash into a wall and end up losing everything I've gained. So It's sort of a balancing act, but you know, you can't repeat these. These are no time trials, so yeah, you have to make a bit of a compromise of how willing to push you actually are. And you know, the top players, they've been doing this for a lot longer than I have. Probably they know the tracks better. They're probably a bit more gentle on the controls. My driving style tends to be, you know, I do have a level of throttle control, but as for my steering inputs, yeah, they're quite aggressive. I try to be a bit more gentle from time to time, but the usual case is that I just yeet the analog stick left to right, toss it from side to side, very rough handling of it. And as a result, it does handle a bit more, does lend itself a bit more to more understeery style, which are not the fastest, but still, it's style that I like. I enjoy having fun, and you know, if you're chasing something you don't even enjoy doing, I mean, what's the point? But anyway, yeah. So yeah, these sort of weekly rallies, just me trying to make the best of what I can. You know, taking myself to my limits to do the best overall time I can. Could I do better individual time? Of course I could. I haven't beaten any of my personal bests from when I used to grind for 1,000 stages for in a long time. Actually, I don't think I have at all. But yeah, 4 minutes and 5 seconds. We've moved up 9 positions. You know, it's a gentle Sunday drive by most standards, but it has given us positions. You know, that is what matters. We're still improving. We're still doing better and better and better. Just keep striving, keep going forwards. That is the case for a lot of things. You know, it might not always, you know, work out, but you know, it is what it is. You know, just do your best, improve yourself. You know, in my particular case, my main rival is myself, as evidenced by me almost turning into a rock and having to do a little bit more corrections than I would like to. Anyway, I have digressed from the point I was trying to make, and I have completely forgotten what I was trying to say before the rock incident. Cool. Anyway, at this point, I sort of changed my approach with this car, and I was actively trying to be a bit more smooth. Perhaps not with the steering, and definitely not in that corner in particular, but with sort of the timing of the inputs. You know, my steering was still very much rough around the corners, and probably very unlikely it's going to ever change at this point, unless I just sacrifice a lot of fun to, you know, just figure it out. And, you know, I might not even end up being faster. But, yeah, and yeah, I was just trying to be a bit more calculated with when I used my aggressive inputs, sort of trying to slowly change the driving styles a bit more point and scratch, I suppose. You know, turn in, try to straighten the car out of the corner as soon as possible. I found it quite. It felt like it worked. Whether it actually worked, I can't say for sure. But it felt good. It felt like it worked. It felt good. It was very enjoyable. It is quite fun to get it working. You know, the sort of, you wrestle the car around for a bit, get it turned in, straightened out, and just bam, power out. Just floor it, go fast as you can. Speaking of, there's a lot of 2s and 9s there, and it has given us 2 more positions as we head into the final course. and it would be the other part of the reason why this week has been so long, and it is a reverse of the 11-kilometer stage. And yeah, at this point I was sort of, yep, point and square seems to be working. Let's try to keep doing exactly that. Focus on exit traction, that kind of thing. So I was jumping into it quite confident. Yeah, of course I was going to make some mistakes here and there. I've barely driven this car before. I don't know even if I have, or well, the bare minimum at least. The statistics said I'd driven it for 8 stages. I don't know if it counts the weekly stuff when I was trying to take thumbnail picture. But yeah, it was a very pleasant experience. I enjoyed driving in Sardinia, and yeah, it was a fun little week. That said, it wouldn't be all beautiful outcomes, and as I did plunk into a wall, and I sort of got thrown off a little bit, and in fact I expected the car to get dragged into, like face first, into the fence. As you could see, I just instinctively went into reverse and actually had to, as I realized that I was actually just spat out of the corner, and I should have just kept going, but yeah. I had expected myself to, well, get turned into the wall, but thankfully I did not. I lost maybe a couple of seconds, and my current thought processes at the time were, have I lost my top 40 spots? You know, how close I was to them. That said, I wasn't going to change much, perhaps pushing from, I don't know, like 85 to maybe 90%, still within reason, still within consistency, within my own consistency range, where I probably wasn't going to make mistakes, but, you know, feeling a bit more confident and making more use of it. And yeah, it would sort of pay off, and as that really was kind of the only laps in what was otherwise a clean, if not rapid run. But you know, being clean is all that really matters at this point. I do remember the devs mentioning that from my suggestion in the Steam forum that they could move from weekly rallies to weekly seasons, you know. So if there's even more stuff coming eventually, or if at all, perhaps. I'm not sure, I haven't followed it all that much, other than that one discussion page. That would sort of really make consistency being really the primary goal, you know? And you could just get so far away just by not making mistakes. Obviously, the faster players are going to have even less of a chance while also having a lot more pace. But, you know, you could sneak in a very good result from time to time. As consistency has always been my weak point, perhaps as a result of my driving style with a controller. But, you know, it is what it is. We make do with what we've got. With what we've learned, what we've been given, and have as much fun as we can in the meantime. But for now, we have finished 404.534, and we've moved up even further. Gained 4 more places. We've jumped into 34th. Now, had I not bumped into a wall, perhaps I would have gained a bit more time, perhaps being within 13 minutes, perhaps probably not within a minute of the first time, but you know, this was still very respectable. Actually, yeah, I could have been within a minute, I think, without that, but still pretty solid. But yeah, that was that. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, leave a comment, perhaps even subscribe. Either way Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again another time. But for now, goodbye.